In the previous episode, we explored the creation of the ego, which we defined as attachment to a false image or belief about yourself. Our false identities are created from an endless variety of external attachments, such as nationalities and occupations, and also internal attachments, such as habits and opinions, though of course the two are linked. Although our own particular ego pattern will be unique, there is nothing particularly original about these attachments. They are absolutely universal, and they operate in the same way within everyone's consciousness. Because we've lost the connection or awareness of our true spiritual selves, we create multi-faceted fake identities based on temporary factors in order to compensate for this loss. The more attached we become to these various pretend selves, the more lost we become, trying to enhance them and secure them. Like chasing rainbows, they always remain beyond reach, and we experience a perpetual state of subtle or not so subtle restlessness, insecurity, and inner hunger. In this episode, we will start to explore some of the more obvious and external factors that contribute towards the building and maintaining of our egos, starting with possessions. Probably our strongest, deepest, and longest false identification is with our own bodies. It is our first and most intimate possession. If you hadn't thought before about your body as a possession, note that we all say naturally, my body. We never say I body. Although the common use of phrases such as you are so beautiful, generally referring to someone's bodily appearance, illustrates this common confusion of self with the body. Attachment to the body can take various forms. Attachment to the appearance of the body is a huge one for most people, and includes, of course, youthfulness, sex appeal, and the beauty norms of the cultures that we live in. This can often cause a lifetime of suffering, literally, as we strive to get or maintain beauty, often at any cost. The businesses of weight loss diets, fitness, cosmetic surgery, magazine culture, selfies, creams and treatments, all form strong pillars in the matrix structure within our consciousness, and its mirror, the societies that we live in. We also use our physical appearance to convey our preferences, political preferences, gender identities, sexual preferences, social statuses, and many other various identifications through our clothes, makeup, tattoos, accessories, etc. This variety of human expression is what makes the matrix so entertaining. It's impossible and probably undesirable to delete all personal preferences from your consciousness. But someone who is truly free from the matrix will experience having a body much like a child enjoys having a doll and dressing it up. It is an avatar in a game, a spacesuit with which to inhabit planet Earth, a temporary costume for your part on this world stage. Once you realize the true self, to believe that you are that mortal body will seem as insane as believing that you are a chair. Of course, an obvious component to this obsession with our physical appearances is its connection with the other huge pillar of the matrix: sexual satisfaction and true love, and the belief that physical appearance is the gateway to this bliss and love, something that an awake person will see as an obvious impossibility. One of the hardest traps in the matrix to escape from, related to the body, is attachment, even addiction, to the pleasures of the senses. It takes a very clear and subtle, alert intellect to recognize in each moment the difference between joy and pleasure. Saints and sadhus were well aware of this trap and believed that practices such as the wearing of hair tunics or denying comfort of any kind were the pathway to freedom. But it is a much more entertaining and fruitful challenge to remain awake whilst in the matrix, not seeking false safety in a barren corner of the matrix. The ego self always needs to consume something to stay alive. It fears silence as death. As long as we are consuming something through the senses, our mind remains occupied. The ego-controlled mind wants to constantly consume through touch, through taste, through smell, through sound, and through sight. A self-aware, sensitive being experiences the contrast of true inner joy and just mere brain sense stimulation in a very clear way. When you're plugged into the matrix, all kinds of empty junk seems to taste or feel good. But once you're unplugged and reconnected to yourself, you can see the contrast clearly. If our minds are pulled again and again to experience pleasure through one or the other of the sense organs, if we are greatly disturbed by unwanted sights, sounds, textures, smells, and tastes, if we have to have everything in the matrix just the way we prefer in order to feel good, these are strong indications that we are well and truly stuck, and making the common error of believing that sensual experiences can deliver true joy and bliss. When the soul or spirit is experiencing its own bliss, it is possible to go beyond any physical unpleasantness.
In other words, there is a point at which pain becomes an experience without having a negative interpretation put upon it. Becomes, in other words, converted into ecstasy. It simply becomes, you see, a way of going through extraordinarily far out sensations which have no meaning. If they have meaning, the meaning of threat, the meaning of death looming at the end, and you know this is the tearing apart and the destruction of you, then you see it is absolutely horrendous. But if it has no meaning at all, just transpose yourself into another dimension to illustrate it, because the dimension I'm talking about is a very tough one. But let's go back to a simpler one. Let's take sounds. Now, if you lie down and listen to all the goings on in this area, and you will hear planes moving and cars and foghorns and all kinds of crazy sounds, you see, people this way and that, so on. And you can listen to that and find it very interesting, very beautiful. But if someone were to do what John Cage does and put you in a concert hall with the expectation of hearing music, and by having a purely silent playing of the piano, compel you instead to listen to all the sounds going on around you, you would be shocked and feel that some kind of an avant-garde hoax had been perpetrated. You see, it depends on the set, on the way you approach the experience. Now, you can listen to sounds that are ordinarily considered unpleasant in a totally unprejudiced way. You can listen to discordant musical noises and find them extremely interesting if you listen carefully enough.
Mistaking yourself for your physical body also leads to fear of the ending of it. From the perspective of the eternal self, exiting from one body is no more traumatic than losing an avatar in a game. Of course, this sounds bizarre to a mind that thinks the matrix is real life. But life is in the self. It's not in the matrix. If you are playing a PlayStation game, sitting comfortably on your sofa in your safe lounge with your loving family around you, you know obviously that the game is just an extra entertainment for a short time. There is no panic about anything in the game. Although it can absorb you temporarily, you never lose full awareness that it is just a game. You know that you and your home and your companions exist quite separately to the game. You don't need to meditate on the truth of this and then try hard to let go of the game. No, it's just obvious. If we can realize this truth deeply, clearly, then all other physical possessions are seen easily for what they are. Props in a play, you have a doll body with a doll's house and doll's clothes and doll furniture in a doll matrix. To be attached to any of it, or to think that a bigger doll's house will make you more important or more secure, this is the insanity of a mind stuck in the matrix. With a faster car, you can zoom around the doll's world faster. With a cuter doll body and doll accessories, you can get the approval of all the other dolls in the doll's world. But when you realize the absurdity of basing your sense of self, your happiness, your security, your life purpose on chasing, accumulating, preserving possessions, even your own body, you're a big step closer to waking up from the matrix. In the next episode, we will explore the illusion of relationships within the matrix. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. And if you wish to explore these concepts in a reflective, meditative way, please do check out some of the guided meditations on the playlist. And also do press like and recommend the channel to your friends if you feel it's useful. The more people who do wake up from the matrix, the easier it does become for the rest of us. So good luck and thank you and stay tuned.